Happy welcome to everybody. Street Heads gathered here. So today we have Abhisek Mallick, who is a successful stream leader and enthusiast aquarist. He will introduce himself. He has been in this industry from 14 years or more now. So I will over to you.
Sure, thank you, Aparna. Hi, all. This is Abhishek. I belong from West Bengal, but stayed in Bangalore like for like 10, 12 years, like 60% Bengali, 40% Kannadiga. Okay. So I have started keeping fishes, etc. maybe when I was like in class 6, 7. When for job purpose came down to Bangalore, that's where in 2010 onwards, started keeping extensively only shrimps. Shrimps, any kind of crustaceans like invertebrates, if it be like a crab, crayfishes, these things I specialize. Along with this also, I have done trips all across India wherever the Indian shrimps are there. So that's where I will present a little bit more onto that. I'll show you some of the habitats. So almost like 90% of the shrimps which are there, I have the data of them. So that is like what are their water parameters, etc. Similarly, I've done that for few of the Caridina shrimps in Hong Kong and in Vietnam also. There are some plans to go in Taiwan and other places also once things. So in my family, I have a wife, a mother, and a very young son. So for that purpose, I took a little bit of like 6 months or a year break. Next year onwards, I will go again for full throttle. By profession, I have done my BTech and then MBA. I also work in EY. Okay, so morning to evening, I crunch numbers. Evening onwards, I start concentrating towards my pets, etc. And along with shrimps also from last maybe like 10, 15 years, I have been breeding smaller cichlids, Tanganyikan cichlids. And recently, like 1.5 year back, started keeping extensively finches. So now I think I have close to like 40 to 50 species of finches. So that's in a small introduction about me. So I may not have a good looking PowerPoint presentation, but I might have some powerful points. Okay. So how the shrimp keeping introduced into the hobby thing. So when Takashi Amano, he created the nature aquarium, he introduced the first shrimps, which is now known after his name only, Amano shrimps, which was known as earlier Yamato shrimp. So it got introduced into hobby through him primarily, and then it, because of the other color variations, etc., it kicked off. There are, I met with Hiyasuku Suzuki also, who actually is the, we can say, the forefather of crystal red shrimps. So when you will, in Hong Kong, you will find the crystal black shrimps in the wild. So from that gene pool itself, he has got a red one. He started breeding those ones, and all the Carinina species that you see nowadays are from that gene pool itself. And tiger and other shrimps that came down from China. So the when it comes to the biggest market or the biggest producer of shrimps, it's Taiwan. In and out, their governments also support massively, and they are the largest exporter. So when the boa shrimp got introduced into market, do you guys have any idea how much it went for each? Somewhere around 8 lakhs Indian currency. Okay. Still it's going across, still the prices are going across somewhere around 70,000 to 80,000 rupees one piece. So there is one guy, once you will start knowing more about ornamental shrimps, his known name is Skyfish. So he created that one. He earlier used to be a truck driver. Now he has two Mercedes C-Class. Right. And then you have an European influence also. So Germans and others, what they don't work on mass breeding. They work on the concept of specialized breeding, like orange eyes, blue eyes. But if you follow, let's say, the Asian side, then the German side or the European side follows a different thing. So whenever you follow, I mean, you follow your leaders, etc., just try to stick to one side. Do not try to take both of the things and try to mix. And why shrimp breeding took up such a thing? Because they produce, I mean, when you work on the Caridina genus, that has a lot of potential. The more you go into the crossbreeding, selective breeding, etc., it has thrown new species, which has better colorations also, and From a financial point of view also, it has a better appeal into the market. And some of them are quite fascinated about how the shrimps move, how the shrimps looks like, etc., and that way also. So that is one of their key criterias. And predominantly, if you see, like 30% or maybe 35% of the top breeders in the world are women when it comes about shrimp breeding. So it's not a male dominated thing. So there are quite a lot big breeders are there. In India, in my past interaction, we have seen that there has been a little, I mean, women have started stepping into, but not as much as there is in European side or Taiwan side also. I'll change. So primarily the shrimp genus is divided into four sides: Neocaridina, Caridina, Paracaridina, and then you have the Atiopsis. So there are other genuses also, but those genuses does not, I mean, they have, you have Halocaridina species also, which is only available in Hawaii. So these 4-5 genuses only which makes up the entire market or the entire shrimp genus itself. My favorite in this one is the in and out the Caridina genus. It is generally divided into, it contains Caridina cantonensis, and Neocaridina has Neocaridina dividi or else palmata. These two species. Atopsis is those shrimps if you have seen in the videos etc., where those shrimps are which has fan in front of that. So they are kind of filter feeders. They take it. All these are bottom of the food chain. All these shrimps species itself, and in wild if you study they are not so much colorful, because the ones which are they are susceptible, if the more colorful you are, the faster it is you will get eaten, right? Easier to that. Caridina was created through selective breeding. Okay. And no, sorry, my mistake. Neocaridina was selected through selective breeding. From wild, they got the white coloration, the yellow coloration, blue, red, this coloration, and that has been line bred. So crossbreeding of the Neocaridina does not yield much of the results. But Caridina, what is the advantage? It is the crossbreeding produces new species. Right. Anything on this one? I'll concentrate on the first on the Caridina segment. So when you keep shrimps, always you have to keep one thing in mind, that there is no reactive measure. Things need to be proactive because they don't give any time for you treatment. So if you do a bad water change also, you won't get 30 minutes before that entire colony gets wiped out. So I'll share one of my experience. When I was staying earlier in South Bangalore, the water parameters were very good. We used to get directly Kaveri water. But then I moved back to Whitefield side. I was not sure. I just put the normal water one day, next day, all gone. Then I realized that something is, and this was like initial days of my shrimp keeping. Then I realized, okay, we used to get Kaveri waters, which was softer here. But when I moved to the other part of Bangalore, it has a borewell water, right? So the water parameters are different. So when you go for Caridina segment, these shrimps always prefer softer water, and don't just go with the concept of TDS, because if you have a one glass of RO water also and you mix salt or sugar, you will have TDS number, but that does not mean it has minerals inside it. So if you are going to use, let's say, if you get good quality Kaveri water, ensure that it does not have any kind of deposits. It's thoroughly cleaned. Either pass it through carbon filter, sediment filter, and then get it done. Or if you are into other parts of Bangalore or in other parts of the other parts of India where you are not sure about the water quality, then preferably go with the RO water and mix with the remineralizer, because that would take out like your 70-80% work is done. If you ensure that the water what you are supplying inside is very thorough. The predominantly the Caridina species, they, if you are going with an RO and a remineralizer, The TDS value, if it is within 100 to 150 range, they are happy with it. The GH should be somewhere around 4 to 6. KH will be 0 to 1. And for caridina, the only thing you need to concentrate, it should, the water temp parameters or the water temperature should always be below 25. Above 25, what will happen is that your shrimps will survive, but they will start losing the shell color and their metabolism rate increases the more temperature you give them. So there usually they have a lifespan of somewhere around 1.5 to 2 years. You will see that their lifespan will get reduced. And second more things also, you will have zero baby survival. Not I won't say zero, but like 0 to 5% of baby survival. But if you push towards the lower temperature, it's better. Tank size. So few of you like to keep shrimps with fishes. Few of you like to keep only shrimp tanks. I'll give both the examples. If you are keeping with fishes, etc., ensure that they have proper hiding spaces, etc. Also, though if you give proper hiding space, also there will be mortalities. Okay, because go with a concept there is no vegetarian fish like that. I won't eat shrimps. They are bottom of the food chain and they are a very good source of protein, so they will get eaten. So when you will go for a planted tank and other things, ideally go along with, if you are keeping with fishes, etc., ideally go with a tank size of 2.5 and above. Okay, because the larger the fish tank, the better it is that the water parameter fluctuation is not so high. But when it comes to a smaller tank, until and unless you have too much expertise, don't do that. If you are going with a shrimp only tank, though primarily the shrimps does not produce so much of a bioload as compared to a fish. So if you are going with a just shrimps only, nothing else, then an 18-12 by 12 will be suffice for you. That's what I prefer, but you can go above 2 also. Because if you just do a 3-footer tank, you can do, but you need a larger population of shrimp so that they, on a continuous basis, they create the bioload which will feed it to your beneficial bacteria. Right. Filtration. Ensure any kind of filtration. I personally prefer the sponge filtration. All right. European side prefer sponge filtration also, and then you have UG filtration also. This is just shrimp only tanks I'm speaking about right now. But UG filtration, what I would say, it if you're using any kind of acidic soil, etc., it exhausts the life faster. Or else you can use a canister filter, hang on back. Just ensure that the inlet is covered properly, because I'm not sure if you have seen a shrimp plate. It is almost like a tip of your pen, or maybe smaller than that. That too, it's like when it's 10 days old. Plants. There is no limitations on any kind of plants, etc., what you can keep, but personal suggestion, avoid the stem ones. I'll give the justification behind it. So when you have stem plants inside your tank, etc., when you try to cut it, prune it, there are chances that you will disturb the soil. If you disturb the soil, ammonia pocket will get released, so that won't give you any time to treat your shrimps, etc. I prefer your mosses, subwaterang, these kind of, or if you are keeping stem plants also, you can make a small enclosure, keep the stem plants there so that it does not disturb the main one. Tank mates, it's up to you. Right. As I told earlier also, anything and everything, whatever it is there, it's supposed to get eaten. Right. But there has been some of the, if you go some of the online forums, they would say that autosynclus does not eat. But nowadays you will find videos also that autos are eating. Right. So no vegetarian fish concept. If you want to enjoy just shrimps, just keep shrimps itself. Crayfishes, crabs, they also go after shrimps. Okay. Breeding, crossbreeding is so in one side you have the bee shrimps, which is the Caridina. Now it's been reclassified into Caridina logermani, and the second side is the Cantonensis, which is the tiger shrimp genus. Both are two different genus. Now both of them can crossbreed. The more crossbreeding you do, the new species you will have chances. All right, there are many different mutations also, like you have orange eyes, silver eyes, those kind of things. But again, those orange eyes, silver eyes are little weaker when it comes to their gene pool. Okay, but actually the potential is unlimited, and this that is the reason which I like this genus is that if you are into that experimental mode, go with it. There is one you might go home and check one guy. His name is Alexander Konjo. He is in Germany. Just study him, what he has done. He has created some insane variety of shrimps, and each of his shrimps are like getting auctioned somewhere around 1.5, 2 lakhs, that kind of currency. He has a very small setup, but very niche setup. Even your international experts like Chris Lukov, etc., started visiting him. So, with a small pace itself, you can, if you want to explore the commercial side also, you can explore with the Caridina shrimps and other photos. Yes. I'll show you some of the Caridinas I have bred across in last few time. Snails you can keep because snails also produces a bioload, but avoid assassin snail because they have a protein, animal protein requirement. So if they don't get that animal protein requirement, they might go after your weaker shrimps. Eventually, a good point you called out. Eventually, your shrimps are also will go after other shrimps if they don't get the animal protein fulfilled requirement done. So in might of the scenario, you have seen that shrimps are eating other shrimps. It is basically if you supplement their animal or insect protein requirement thoroughly, they won't go after other shrimps. But if you don't do, then they will go. Try to keep MTS. No, sorry, not MTS. Ramshorn snails. You can keep that. Then nerite also you can keep. They don't breed in this water, but you need brackish water to ensure that the eggs get hatched. All right. You stay with me for 1 minute. Huh? Go to the first one. So this is a Carinina Pinto, red Pinto. This has been created through a lot of crossbreeding, etc. And these are the parameters itself which I explained you are ideal for them. And the next one. Can any of you identify what is this one? Sulawesi. Right. So Sulawesi has a different parameter requirement as compared to normal Caridina, though this fall under the same genus itself because from the island where they get collected, so their water parameters are almost like a marine tank, low TDS, high pH, and they prefer a temperature moderate till maximum 28. So initially before the supplements etc. got launched, how we used to do, we used to aerate the water for like 24-48 hours so that the oxygen level increases and your pH get increased. But nowadays you don't need to do so much thing because there are a lot of minerals etc. You just mix it with it, keep it there. But these shrimps are little fragile because 90% of 90 to 95% whatever available in the market itself are wild caught, and some idiot has introduced cichlids, jaguar cichlids into their wild habitat. So now, like in wild itself, 80% of their colonies are wiped out. Okay, so when you keep them, be very sure you need at least a mature tank. Maybe like you have cycled the tank more than for 6 weeks. For Caridinas, I prefer cycling the tank for 4 weeks, but for new, when it comes to Sulas, I prefer it 6 weeks or more. Switch on the lights for 18 hours so that you have a lot of biofilm inside it because they don't accept processed food. Okay. Okay. These are the PRLs that I had. PRLs when it comes to it's little above than CRS when it comes to because CRS can gives you red babies also, black babies also. But PRLs are selectively bred where they will just give red babies and their legs and other things. So the how the costing etc. goes across if the legs are pure white, legs are pure red. So that's a different thing. And the next one. These are King Kongs and the blue ones which are called across is Shadow Panda. Blue color will only stay if you keep the pH below than 7 all the time. Okay, because once they eventually start growing, the blue coloration will start reducing. All right. So this is also created from the crystal breach shrimp species itself. This one, King Kong, Taiwan, King Kong, wine red and blue bolt, it makes the Taiwan be because Taiwan initially created that segment. Next one. These are the orange eye blue tigers. Okay, so in wild it is not available, but it has been produced through selective breeding. Right. These also comes in different mutations. This some of the times it comes with an silver eye also. Next one, Nana. This is the galaxy fishbone that I had. Okay, so from this itself, this has boa genes, which I told you. So this was my kind of FD. My wife suddenly felt where our FD went, so that's where my FDs went. Right. So now there are a lot of other mutations also of this ones came like there are stardust etc also. So that is this is one of my personal favorite shrimps because of the not because of breaking the FDs but because of the colorations and other thing. And the next one. This is a fancy tiger. This has been created when you cross a T2 or a second generation from Caridina to tiger along with a tiger. Okay. So there are also good mutations of fancy tigers available. Okay. So these are actually easier to keep. This is a tangerine tiger. This is wild variety, but it is been used extensively by breeder all across because it's a very good tool shrimp. Right. Tool shrimp in the sense what it does is it you cross it with any other shrimps, it gives you a better result. So if you cross a Taiwan V with an orange eye blue tiger, it might not give you good result. But if you cross it with a this tangerine one, it produces a very good result. So yellow King Kong or next one. Sorry, just go out. Close it. I wanted to show the 87. So these are actually created from tangerine tigers only. Yellow King Kong. And yellow King Kong also is a very good tool shrimp. So when you try to go into crossbreeding, etc., also you need to know which are the good tool shrimps. Like, and one more thing is like anybody of you here keep finches? So some of the time we get the fostering done through Bengali finches, right? Similarly, the females here are if normally any other shrimps carries like some 20 eggs etc and out of you will get 4 5 these produces like 30 40 and the survival rate is also better so preferably when you cross and when you have selected the male out, these tangerine tigers or else the yellow king kong females are more used because of their better carrying rate. Now you can close this one. Just open for me. 112. This is one of my this for me it won a European competition. So this is my flagship, I can say, pure red line. You can see why I was telling spider leg, because half of it is red, half of it is white. That's what it calls across. And this is like a all-time classics. It works all the time. I mean, it from 20 years back also it had craze. 20 years down the line also it will have craze. The shell coloration, thickness, etc. is what is it decided. Some segment of the world they prefer more white. It goes for more valuation there. Some parts, let's say towards the Japan side, they prefer more red. So they prefer the reddish ones. And there are still nowadays also PRLs, etc., which gets auctioned in Japan somewhere around like almost like your similarly like that way we have a koi market. Similarly, we have a market there itself. Right. Now you can close 131. This is good old CRS. Now from the PRL itself, what is the difference? If you see the shell thickness, here this shell at least you can see, but there's there in PRL and other side the shell needs to be so thick that you can't see from this side to that side. You can close for me 132. That was the Galaxy fishbone female photo which I showed you. The spots here itself is what makes them Galaxy. Okay. Well, in this you can close. In some of this same situation itself, I would like to show some of the crayfishes which I kept 125. So crays also need a almost. I'm just bifurcating a little bit. Crays also need almost similar water conditions like your Caridina shrimps. Don't go with the yellow, blue, red that will survive in gutter water also, right? But when you go with the sophisticated ones, they need colder temperature and their coloration etc. also is dependent. So the blue coloration will stay. No, that's a crayfish. So when it's a blue coloration, how it will stay? You need to feed them seaweed algae, then only the blue. So each species have their own requirement why their colors etc. will stay. So when you will think of breeding them, they don't stay well together. Male female they don't stay together. So when you have to groom both of them separately, and only during the breeding time itself introduce the female to the male's tank. Once the mating is done, remove both of them. Female will take care of the eggs. You keep both of them, one of them will eat the other. Okay. Next one, 126. 126. No, अच्छा ठीक है. Go to the next image. This is front view only. This is also one of the crayfishes. So there is one person in Hong Kong who just specializes only on crayfishes. If you go to his place, he has crayfishes which are like in our Indian currency some 10 lakhs rupees a piece. Okay, that is I think Jeremy Wade also showcased that crayfish. It was world's largest crayfish which was available in that's Australia and New Zealand thing. They have a white color claws. There are big breeders who does this breeding also. When volcano crayfish got introduced into market, or when the pure black introduced into the market, they went for 6 digit or 7 digits. But what happened in India across is that we don't we thought we'll fit all of them in one bucket itself. It does not work that way. So you can't keep them with a chiclet tank. Okay. They need it special. We think, oh, crayfish in shop they are keeping at normal water itself. They are keeping there, but you should not do that. They have a different requirement. So that is the reason only the sophisticated crayfish did not picked up there in India so much. Dwarf crayfish is also there, but dwarf crayfishes predominantly stays towards the European side. They need exactly same parameters like CRFs. There you can keep it into colony, but once you have a little bigger babies, you need to start separating them out until and unless you have a, like a 3 feet or 4 feet. So this is what hobbyists normally keep Neocaridina, and I stopped keeping them few years back itself. Okay, nothing against them, but the learning curve is not so much what it is there in Caridina side. So some of the time people come and ask what to do to breed red cherry shrimps. I said just put them in water. That's it. Any water, they will breed. Right. So this one Neocaridina shrimps, but again it comes in a, I mean from an economical point of view also it is much cheaper, and they produces like rabbit. Okay. I mean insane quantity. But the challenge with them is with Caridina at least you have ensurity that 80% or 90% if your gene pool is strong, then you will get good babies. Here you need to do a lot of selective breeding if you want to make your name. Or I mean, or else do one thing, put it into a pond also. Like similar way in our parts of India, they are doing for color widows, right? So that is what the Neocaridina shrimps. I mean, you get the yellow variety, you get the orange variety, you get the white snowball, you have the blue variety, you have black, you have green jet. All these varieties are there in through the market, but these also needs patience. If you are getting from a very good top-notch breeder also from Europe also, you have to then also work on it. Eventually, if they will tell you that 90% of my blues will give you blues baby, but still you need to have a patience of removing 10% so that you have a stronger gene pool. The water parameters for Neo, it is there. They predominantly prefer a little harder water as compared to Caridinas. So ideally from a TDS of 400 till 700, they have done good. But I would suggest try to wrap between 400 to 550 or that kind of a TDS. Softer water also they do good, but they don't do so well in softer water parameters. But you go with a GH value of somewhere around 10, 12, a KH value of 3, they do good. The tanks, their water, their temperature also. So these you can flex a little bit. You can go till 28 to 29 maximum. There are people, it's like it survived in my temperature in 30 also. Yes, it will survive, but it won't give you the proper coloration, the proper survival, etc., which is expected out of them. Tank sizes, again, Neos prefer bigger tanks. You have a 3 feeder, you want just for good coloration, etc., go and dump some 100 red, go and 100 blues. They will be better there. But if you, and eventually if you want to do like from a commercial point of view also, it's better you start doing at a bigger tank, because in countries like Taiwan where they produces in bulk, etc., their each pond is somewhere around 10,000 to 12,000 square feet. It's what I would say, very low volume of water, like less than 1 feet or etc. Also in there they breed those things, right? Neos are much more susceptible to diseases. The reason behind is also that their breeding does not happen in a controlled environment from where you are getting. So you will find uh, issues like green fungi, etc., which is stepping into your tank. Because, but if a breeder, let's say you are procuring something from a European breeder, There it is lesser chances to get have diseases as compared to the Asian part, right? Because filtration, as discussed with the caridinas itself, you can use the same filtration, same plant, etc. Also, tank mates, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. Crossbreeding, I will tell you, don't mix two species of neos. So it does not have the potential of like a caridina shrimps where you cross two varieties and it produces you a good looking variety. With neo, the challenge is if you cross two varieties, it will go to their wild color next batch itself. So for photo purpose and other things, people put skittles. Skittles is like they put multiple coloration in one time. So if you're not bothered about what will be the next generation, how they will look, etc. also, then go ahead, please. But if you want to maintain a proper lineage, keep just one species. All right. Eventually, if you try to mix, let's say you picked up red from person A and B, one more red from person B, just ensure before mixing both the ones also. Right. Then photos. I'll show some of the neos which I kept across. Second. This initially, some of the people will call it into the fire rate segment also, but when you go to any kind of competition, it won't stand across. The only reason being there are break of the lines in the red part, right? Shell color, etc. also is fine. So this is ideally I would call a Sakura grid, but some of the people can call it fire red also. Next. This is an orange variety, right? This has been, I mean, whatever we picked up from the market, we did some selective breeding from next 1 or 2 years to ensure this is the line which came across. This is a black one. Next one. Then. So this is the relief mutation which is there. This is known as the blue relief. Okay. So there is along with the solid coloration also there is a relief mutation which does not have the proper solid coloration throughout the ones. As you can see, it's kind of broken. Last tail part is a red and the other body is like a blue kind of a thing. Really varieties also has picked up momentum etc. into the market, but it is again each people have their own different choices. So whatever you like. That is also a black rose. Anything else? I'm done. Now let's go back to the presentation. Okay. Yes, last one. So any questions still there before I jump to the Indian shrimp segment? Right. So Indian shrimps, like most of the whatever you see 90 to 100 90 to 99% of the shrimps which comes across from the northeastern part of Bengal, which is bordering towards Bhutan side. The temperature is moderate there. Why I specifically want to concentrate on Indian shrimps is because there has been too much misinformation spreading all across India. So just tell me from your point of view, what do you think would be an ideal water parameter for for an Indian shrimp? Any guesses? Cold water. Whether they prefer softer water or harder water. What do you guys think? Soft water. Right. Good. Yes, they prefer softer water. But there has been till date there has been no documented things. Only European had this documented thing where they were able to breed as compared to Indian breeders. Then I mean if you Search across. There is a. I will show the pictures in some time. There is a zebra mutation also, which in wild it looks like a zebra mutation, but Taiwanese folks they found a albino variety of it, and now they are selling it each like some $10. They have the monopoly only. So the irony is, being an Indian shrimps, Indians are not aware of it. So that's why, like some 2018 to 2019, that was my focus to start gathering all the data that I have. So including their averaged out. So I collected initially a data point on each quarter to get a average value, that what is the ideal parameters that they stay. So there are certain species like Adina hodgati, which until that comes from India itself. But till date, in entire world, there has been 2 or 3 documented breeding. Among them is mine, one of them. So I work closely with Dr. Werner Klotz from Austria on documenting all these Indian shrimp species. There are 10% for which me it's pending, which I will complete in Jan, middle of the Jan, which are like for the red nose shrimps, etc. So when you go to any market, etc., they will tell, "Arey, it will stay in every condition," but no. If you see the water TDS, etc., also that does not go more than 90-100 also. The water is such a soft. Because you can go and drink from that. That is not, there is no such human population also where from where it gets collected. It's so pristine. I mean, you might encounter elephants, etc., but that is a different thing. And some more misinformation which comes across is that in wild there is only green variety of green hot curry. When they are stressed, they have a yellow coloration. When they are red, they are about to die. Okay, but people, traders sell it to the market that this is a different coloration. No, that is just the stress level, right? So start concentrating. I mean, you don't always have to fancy or get always the premium shrimps. The Indian shrimps also, if you think I will do some selective breeding on this line itself, it will give you immense challenge, because first of all, accessing the good quality itself will take time, but after that also you can do a lot of learnings like doing crossbreeding, etc., and these are quite affordable also. You can pick them up from market for 20-30 rupees, right? I want to show the pictures, man, for them. Go to the Indian. Yes, we can stun on from DSC0. Just make it into the. So this is one of their wild habitat. Okay, this is a elephant crossing zone. Okay, so whenever we travel with an extensive test kit where we record their GH values, KH values, dissolved oxygen, what is their TDS level, what is their pH level, what is the temperature level, 6 to 7 parameters easily. So that's what we do. So the water most of the time it will be like till knee length, so you can cross easily. And the fun part is zebra, hotgati, babaulti, these all stay within like same range itself. So whatever you will find here, you might find it like 10-15 meters difference also. Your baddies, these things also stay here. So these are the things which later on PFK, Practical Fish Keeping magazine, they published, and also in Germany, Caridina magazine, they published these things. Next one. This is one part also. There is, so due to human encroachment and usage of fertilizer, you might see that there is a white-backed V variety, which earlier was available. Now it's almost like 70% wiped out, because I saw them few years back, but I can't see them right now so much. There is a known shrimps which macrobacean shrimps, which is known as the, and trade we call it as honeybee shrimp. That is also completely wiped out, almost like. The only available colony is in Bhutan because they have a stronger laws. Okay, here people are mixing fertilizer, urea, and that same water is getting drained out into the river stream, which is killing them. Next one. This is also the same stream itself. So how the things here is, if you see here, these are colonies of cryptocorin, not crypto. What is that? Aponegotum, right? So the plants they stay afloat like this way. So in the river stream, the plants are, I mean, the plants goes this way. Your shrimps always stays at the bottom part, right? So they are safe from the predators, etc. Also, and in the same place you will find baddies, you will find chachanas, you will find micropis decota also, loaches, smaller barbs also. These are subtropical condition. So in subtropical condition, you get a good coloration. But when you start moving towards the colder zone, their shrimps are bigger, but less coloration. We have found out some of the shrimps also which till date next. As of now, it's not exploded into the harvest. So these are the plants which were there, and the shrimp stays beneath that. Right, and the water is tremendously soft. Okay, so if you get Indian shrimps and you want to try something, so these have at least a little bit of luxury till 28, 29 you can go, but try to give them a beach shrimp condition, and these are rewarding shrimps. This is from the wild itself, the Caridina hotgati. Okay, so somebody call it as a rocket sim. No, the hotgati, red nose is red nose. I'll go in 1 month time. So these are the toughest in world to breed. Okay, because of the misinformation and other things. So if any of you like challenges, I would suggest try this. It's not just Indian acclimation, you will get an international acclimation also. Right, because not just, I mean, getting the stock is a different thing, but again, these don't give time to for you to do any kind of reactive things before you think of doing anything itself. Done. Yellow and red. It's similar thing like the analogy would be similar like your traffic signal, green, yellow, red. Next one. So this is the side view of it. This was she was a gravid female. So we took her, clicked some picture, and then released it to her wild habitat also. These are the eggs. These are the eggs which are there. So this some of the places in the wild how it happens it you get entirely green, and some of the places you will have some yellow dots on top of it. That is because of maybe what I would say different conditions which are there. Like this I collected from one spot, the other ones were collected like 70-80 kilometers apart. So that is next. This is what I was telling you. This is known as the Indian bee shrimp. This comes in two coloration. One is this coloration, and second one it comes in blue coloration. Earlier it was abundant. People, I mean, in Bangalore market it was getting sold for 10 rupees, 12 rupees. But now, because of the urea dumping and other thing, almost gone. Okay, these shrimps also you can keep. You can try some kind of crossbreeding, etc. Also, and they are very easy to keep. This is one of the yellow coloration crab that we have collected from the wild habitat also. They stay almost at the similar water parameters what the Indian shrimp stays. These are also rewarding. So when you try to create crab etc. also, the big thing that we do except micro crab, we try to put everything into water. But whereas crabs require a little bit of humidity. Right. There are only very few species of aquatic crab. This was one of the species of aquatic crab. So it stays inside water itself all the time. It does not stay into that burrows, etc., like the way you have the fiddler's crab or the other crabs. So if you think of keeping crab also, Study the crab before you buy. Let's say in market you will see vampire crab, etc. Also, vampire crabs needs paludarium or a vivarium, and they need good amount of spaces because the interspecies or cross species aggression is too much. Okay. So this is below the water itself, this picture. So this is where your 70-80% of the entire shrimp population stays. Baddies, etc. They stays in this area. Okay. And your chanas, etc. They, whenever it's on a hunting mode, they stay other parts. But into this smaller areas only is where the Indian shrimp stays. So when you create a kind of a biotech for them, keep this thing in mind, right? So beneath any kind of plants, etc., also is there what they generally are found. So when I saw the crystal bee shrimp's habitat, so it was a water stream, and in water stream you have lot of leaf litters. But here we could not find any leaf litter because it's a moving river. Okay, so there is a lot of leaf litter. You have to remove the stones, etc., and then you see. This was one of my friend itself. This was somewhere across in Kalimpong side, which was a colder area. This is one of the these are some of the plants that are available into the wild habitat. This is also the same whiteback shrimps only. This is also caught from the wild also. She was a gravid female. After capturing the photo, supposed to release them back. This is how the entire river streams, etc., looks like. So for plant enthusiastic, it makes sense for them. Yes, can you guess me what is this? Huh? Rabbit snail. From where rabbit snail comes across? Predominantly Sulawesi, Indonesia. But where you guys are well, there is a big genus of rabbit snail available in India itself. These are Indian rabbit snails. We have 4 to 5 coloration. Actually, it was a quite shocking discovery for us also. When we went there, we found out across, I think, like, did somebody accidentally release them here? It can't be possible because it's not possible to travel that side and go and dump there. So you have, I mean, I have a thriving colony at my place. You have the black coloration, deep black coloration. You have this blue coloration also. And it's a mystery that how in India we have it, and again we have it in Indonesia, which are not connected also. Right. So this is eventually these are still unID'd. Right. So I had the specimens, but post COVID and other things, when things become tough for everything to travel, so we could not get these ID'd. So maybe next year onwards, we will start documenting these and start getting this ID'd. This is a macrobacium species. So in trade, they call it as, I don't know what they, some of the places they call it as a chocolate shrimps, etc. Also, these are little aggressive when it comes instead of the smaller ones. So these ones can eat your fishes also. I mean, this can go after your fishes, catch your fishes, have them, eat them. So, but again, there is one more variety of them also, which is known as the uh, we call it as honeybee. That is like yellow and black color stripe. That is now we could not find it in wild from last 2-3 years. Right. So these are the ones also you find it into the similar habitats, and they also prefer the similar water condition. But when you try to keep them or breed them, it is similar to the CRS parameters, or like keep the male female separately. Right. Next. This is a top view of the white V shrimps, how the yellow coloration looks like. Male female. Okay, next one. So this is one species which we discovered. It was like upstream, we went somewhere around 500, 700 meters. So I saw one shrimps and this was like its exoskeleton. We did not documented it so that if we document that area and other things, others will start visiting and then they will mess up the entire area itself. This is freezing temperature. So it was a, we initially went there just for in night time for cooking purposes and other things. Because when you travel in wild, it's like you cook on the go, do everything on the go. So it was like we just for time pass purposes, I went upstream, collected this one. So inside the nature itself, there are so many species which are still not explored. So this was quite big, very good coloration. Saw that, released it, done. I still have this exoskeleton, but prefer not to get it released so that same thing what happened with the Demasonic fishes also. They kill the wild habitat completely for commercialization purpose. This should not happen. Next one. Are we done? Now go to the videos. Some of the videos also I have, which I will show. So this is a don't go with the video quality. This is a jugadu way of getting the video done. We had that 8-inch tank cube, put the phone there and float it downstairs. So maybe now with GoPros and other things, we will start getting good videos. But that's how in the wild things looks like. It's completely, these are the Aponigaton which I was calling across. Due to the stream itself, they are always down this way. All your shrimps, smaller fishes, they stay survive in that segment. Post this video, I forgot to disclose one thing that I'll go into the last video. This is one unidentified crab also which we find across. I have the specimen with me. Once after some days we will get it. I did because this was also an accidental thing where we found across fully aquatic crab in a black coloration. Now, can you go back to the PPT? I missed to speak one thing about, and nobody asked me also that what is the soil that you should use for a Caridina and Neocaridina shrimps. So just go to for me slide 4. What kind of soil we should use in a Caridina shrimp tank? Amazon, okay. So as I was discussing that Caridina needs so everything goes with a logical explanation. As I was going through that, Caridina shrimps prefer a softer water parameters. So what you are saying is Amazonia soil, that is known as active soil. Active. Okay. What it happens, it works with your water parameters and changes the water parameter. Okay. So with soils like AD Amazonia, Tropica, what is the advantage? It is that if you provide them with a softer water, it will buffer it down. Okay, it will keep the pH always at 6.5 or other thing. I predominantly use, I'm not promoting ADA, but I predominantly use ADA. All right, because that's what worked for us from last 10-15 years. So don't want to change for that situation. And there are other breeders like, let's say you might go online and read Europeans are using Akadama soil. So some of us might start jumping and keeping the Akadama soil also, shrimps into that. But they always have to remember that their parameters are different. They stay in a colder zone. We stay in a different zone, right? So none of the Asian breeders you might not see that they are keeping their shrimps on an Akadama soil. That only works in Europe. Acidic soil, some of you might have questions that what is the soil thickness I need to keep. If you are going with a planted tank, at least I think you need to keep a 2 to 3 inches thick soil. So with the thicker soil, the pros are longer lifespan. Okay, you need to change it at a lesser interval. But the negative side also, it takes a long time to cycle. But for an hobbyist point of view, go with a thick soil like 2 inches soil. Cycle the tank for like close to 4 weeks and other things, then you are set. How do you cycle the tank also? I missed at that time. Let's say you start today, 14th of December, one tank. You did the soil, you put the water, etc. All done. After 2 weeks, let's say for calculation sake, 28th. 28th, you take out 50% of water, fill 50% of RO or remineralized water. Check your parameters. After 7 days, which will be like fourth, take out remaining 25% of water. Put new 25% of water, and 11th onwards release your shrimps. Few of you might think Caridina shrimps CRS is very tough. I'll tell you, we used to check the tanks whether it is cycled or not through CRS. I mean, before keeping any other species, we used to drop the CRS. If they survive for 2-3 days, tank is cycled, because it's not possible to check 300 tanks. Right. So that way. So, but if you go from a point of view like you just want to become a good breeder, breeding point of view. So from breeding point of view, you can keep a thinner layer of soil, 1 inch or lesser than that. But with that, the positive side it is you need a lesser time to cycle. You can get it cycled within 15-20 days. But negative is also every 6 months you need to change. Right. When you keeping any kind of this acidic soils, let's say AD Amazonia tropica itself also, be very ensure that you dump the hard water, because their properties, they will start working with that soil and the water to keep the water parameters down, right? So your soil exhaust faster. Any questions on this? That is from a breeder's point of view. Remove the soil. So that's what. If you want to become a breeder, then that is the way. But if you want to just enjoy the hobby, keep it into a planted tank normal way. Next one. Now for the Neocaridina. For Neocaridina, always we prefer, you can keep them in an acidic soil also. There is no issues on that. But prefer to keep them on a neutral one. Okay. So granite chips, safe and effective option. Smaller granite chips. Then you can use, I'll come to that, lava rocks. Who else feels lava rock would be a good thing? No, I'm not just trying to pull you out. Whoever, just give me an honest answer. Whoever feels that laterite is a good option. Nobody, yeah? No, why laterite is not a good option also? Who else feels laterite is not a good option? Ammonia buildup, okay, not that also. But again, who all feels that laterite? Who feels laterite is a good option? Who feels laterite is not a good option? Give me a. I mean, laterite is a good option. Who all feels? Cheaper option. Good. Who all feels laterite should not be a good option? Okay. So with laterite and lava rocks, the concept is that is made up of iron, right? If you dump, if there would be too much amount of iron, if you put all those things there would be an iron buildup. Okay. So I have seen this thing, that is, I mean, there is no harm if you are keeping at a smaller layer, etc. But if you are keeping a laterite or a lava rock at a 3-4 inches thickness itself, that will help you, I mean, build up immensely. Okay. So for Neocaridina, the safest option is granite chips. You can keep You can keep clean wash sand also, not the white, black, fancy one. Normal river sand, you can pick it up. Ensure anything which does not spike up the water parameters. Like we can, whenever you get any stones, etc., also you can get the vinegar test done. That is easiest way. But active soil, yes, you can keep in a planted tank. These are little forgiving species. When you try to go into any kind of shrimp breeding before investing on any money on getting the shrimps, that's what as an from an hobbyist point of view, what we do. We go into the market, we like this color, blue, yellow, green, we'll put everything together. Before that, invest in a good water test kit. Okay. So you get MI TDS meter itself like 350 400 rupees. That is a good one. pH, you can get a HANA meter. That is somewhere around 1000 or something like that way. Then get a good quality GH and KH test kit. If you are not using any RO water with a remineralizer thing, if you are going with a tap water, just do these things. Other fancy items you don't need. I mean, with experience itself, it will come across that you don't need the nitrate. I'm not saying that you should not use it. Nitrate, nitrite, ammonia, etc. Also, you will start experiencing once you keep the basics very strong, like regular water changes. Every week, ensure that you do 10 to 15% water changes in the shrimp tanks because they don't prefer a large water change. Like you forgot everything and in a one day you do a 50% water change, you might see that activity and other things have started reducing. So smaller water change always works out. If you have multiple tanks and can't concentrate much on that, then maybe can study a little bit on the how drip system works across, like 1 drop per second and 1 drop that will flow across. Food and other things, these are primarily scavengers. Okay, so there are foods etc. which works on the yellow coloration, red coloration, blue coloration, green coloration also. I'm not going into that aspect that whether food. So if you are like this, I mean this kind of thin, just by taking food you can't become Bahubali, right? That needs to be in your gene pool, right? So if somebody is promising you feed my food, your RCS will become red cherry. Hey, it's fire red. That is never going to happen. You are setting wrong expectations for yourself also. I'm not going into others what they are doing. So whenever you get a shrimps, try to get it from a good breeder so that you are ensured that okay, my gene pool is strong. I'm getting from a good person. And then you feed them whatever it is there because food is like 20-30% of it. Remaining things becomes like from where you are getting. Then your water parameters. I mean, ensure that uh, my water parameters are up to the mark. If your water parameters is messed up, there are chances you won't get good results. What else? Yes. Hmm. Come out of the mold. Right. So that's what. So when good question. When you have the water parameters akka, they mold properly, and shrimps need to mold regularly to grow also to breed also. Right. So if you see that what is the example that you called across is it's if the water is too hard, they are not able to come out of the shell properly, then there is something wrong in your water parameter. Okay. But again, just don't go and start changing the water parameters because you have read it online. If something is working for you, let it work. Okay. There are certain bit of minerals, etc., what people call that you drop it into the water column, vitamin, they will start molting. They can't take the vitamin minerals from the water column. That needs to go through their food. Okay. So in an ideal situation, if you are confirm that I'm getting Kaveri water 100% all the time, go ahead. If you're not confirmed or that's it, I mean, just for other parts of India, it's Kaveri river is what we get the water supply here. You might have a different thing at your place, right? So I have a different thing at my place. So if you're not sure about your proper water condition, best thing, go with RO with remineralizer. Your molting, all those issues will get sorted out. Yes. Huh. Yes. If they're not touching anything, algae is enough for them. So obviously, that's also a good question. Whenever you see them in their wild side also, they always prefer the biofilm and the algae side, right? Eventually, if you want to have a better survival rate of the babies also, you need a very good colony of biofilm along with algae, because the generally you might see that in the videos, etc., the babies are sticking to the glasses because they feed on that. Or else, if you can't provide with them, some of them, if you can't provide with them biofilm and others also, supplement it with a leaf litter. Some of the safest leaves are Indian almond leaves, guava leaves, banana leaves. These are the 3-4 things which are tried and tested. Now, let me ask a question. Can you go to the coordination segment? So you have an active soil. You have a good looking tank setup. Okay. With AD Amazonia, all those things. You put chola wood. You put Indian almond leaf also. What do you think should go wrong that side? All these things which I told about, that chola wood, Indian almond leaves, they tend to make break down. Okay. 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 Right. 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 Good answer. So why I called this thing out also, there is a magazine, Caradinas and Caradinas and Breeders, which Chris Lukhab wrote. There is a 3 volume of it. One particular very big breeder in Switzerland, he faced a similar issue. He made a very good tank. He made with acidic soil. He put Indian almond leaf. He put alder cone. He put chola wood. Then after some days, he starts seeing the shrimp started dying. The problem is all these things have an acidic property, and they started reducing the water parameters. So when your pH again goes below 5, 5.5, most of the bacterial colony will crash. Overnight it will crash. Right. So don't in an excitement put everything. Right. So as a standard size, in a 2 feet tank, you can put like close to half of a Indian almond leaf. Make sure you put it into a lukewarm water for 10 minutes. Release a little bit of tannin. Then go and put the leaves there. If you are getting guava leaves or even banana leaves also, wash it, like keep it in a lukewarm water for 10 minutes, so that even if there are some harmful pesticides, etc., also that will go off. Right. But don't dump too much also. Right. If you do too much also, it's not always good. Some of the situations, some of the places you might read that copper is not good for. You might be, I don't know the scientific terms, but in shrimp's blood itself, they have a copper. So they need actually copper in their diet, but it should be in a regulated way. It should not be like too much. Right. Some of the places you might heard that people have, like me, copper rings. They dropped their hand into the fish tank. Fishes died. All BS. That does not happen that way. Okay, that you put with copper inside your hand also, and the shrimps will start dying. So keep things in a I mean, before doing anything, keep things in a very thorough way. Because similarly, like why I took the finch examples, like finches does not give time to treat. Morning you see they are meeting, 1 hour, 1.5 hours later they are dead. Right. So we need to be a lot of proactive to get those things done. For shrimps also it is a similar thing. Enjoy this hobby. I mean, start doing these things so that at least from an Indian perspective, because till date, me and one of my friend only, we only participated in international competition. In Indian competition, there are one or two places who tried conducting that, but it was not good. In Palakkad region, they thought of conducting this along with guppy competitions, etc. But it did not work out. So start working on it. Get good quality. I mean, keep the basics right. Get it from a good breeder. When you go to the fish store and other things also, before you buy any shrimps, check which are the ones which are more active. Pick those ones up. All right. If you have a, though from a right now point of view, it might sounds like it's almost like I need to become a scientist, but it's not so hard. You need to keep the at least the basics right. So if you, let's say, you got some shrimps from person A, some crystal reds from person B, you go to Sunny and buy some crystal reds from him. Just don't go and dump it in everything into the same tank. Just quarantine, let's say, the other shrimps. So how I quarantine is, my main tank is 2 feet, then I have a 1 feeder. So whatever I'm just calling your name outside. So I will, whatever the shrimps I'll get from Sunny, I'll put it into that tank, 1 feet tank. After 7 days, I'll take out like 100%, not 100%, 50 to 60% of water from the quarantine tank and use a drip acclimatization to get the water from the main tank. I'll keep it for 2 weeks. Once I'm ensured that okay, that does not carry any what I say pathogens, etc. Also, I'll release them to the main tank. So you go in market, you like plants, you saw some good looking Bucephalanthera, some good looking Amazonian sword, etc., vals. You felt happy, you brought them, put it into the main tank, next day all gone. Right. So even eventually, and some of the situations people are like, Array, I have a controlled feeding, why I have planaria inside my tank? Right. I'll just touch on those planary angles and other things in this side only. So when you get the plants are the biggest carriers. When you get any kind of plants, etc., from outside, if you are getting tissue culture plants, that is fine because they are grown in a controlled environment. Even if you are getting from a very good friend, also, then also don't trust it because you don't know whether his tank or her tank has planaria or any kind of insects there. So when you get the plants also, drip them in potassium permanganate for 10 seconds. Take it out, put them in fresh water. Then also don't put it into the main tank. Repeat the same thing after 15 days. Because generally all this planaria, hydra, their eggs take 14 days to hatch. So if you do after 15 days also, you are ensured that that entire thing is gone. So after 15 days, then only put your plants into the main tank. So that way you are sure. So now there are some pests which comes into plant shrimp tanks. First is ceopods. Small, small. No need to worry about ceopod. Ceopod is a sign of a very healthy tank. Okay, if there are too many large in number and it is an eyesore for you, just put 2, 3 hungry fishes. There might be mortality of your shrimps also, but they will take care of the ceopods. Right. Second thing which comes in hydra. Hydra is like a three-headed thing. People feel it is a pest and other thing. Okay, let's consider them as a pest. How do you treat hydra? Hydra, take out a syringe, you get lemon, take out 4, 5 drops of it, and dose it directly on top of the hydra. You will see them eventually dying. If you try to remove them or break them, they will split. They will split and create 2, 3 more. Right. So with this citric acid influx, they immediately die. So use that. That is a homemade remedy. There is one good uh, lady. She is in Germany. Her name is Uli Bauer. She always looks for this. She always provides solution on homemade remedies. Now the big thing is which is planaria. That is, I mean, we consider it as a pest, but I haven't seen anything smart microorganism like a planaria. So generation A, if they taste shrimp, that goes passed down to the next generation also, that shrimp is tasty. This smartness I haven't seen anywhere. And the other part is, if it has eaten a blue color shrimp, it will take blue coloration. If it takes eats a red shrimp, it takes a red coloration. Right. Right. In the child. Right. So that is, but it when I learnt about it, it was quite right. Fancy part. So how do you clear planaria? Many of the people, many of the things in float into the market itself, that planaria killer, that completely messes up your entire tank. Right. So I'm not going into the commercial brands that why it's not good, why it's not bad. But if you speak with any of the European folks, they're completely against with it. Okay. Some of them have some theories that eventually if you release those water into that our drains and etc. also, that might have a negative impact. So either planaria, there is 2 ways, 3 ways you can wipe out the entire colony. First is you get the planaria trap or the snail trap, and through that you catch. That's a manual exercise. That's a long time consuming exercise. But if you want to avoid that entire situation, ensure that your plants etc. are not contaminated. Your fishes etc. are not contaminated. It is not going to, until and unless it is coming from an outside or a host inside your tank, it can't grow pop up like this way. All right. So ensure that whatever is going inside your tank is thorough. Whatever is going outside, it's fine. This is one way. Second thing, this is the easiest thing itself. Set up the new tank. Right. When you set up the new tanks itself, ensure that you dry the soil for 10-15 days because of again the egg concept. All right. Fishes you can use to get rid of planarias, but only labyrinth fishes eat planaria. Molly guppies, they don't touch planaria also. Labyrinth fishes in the sense godami or else beta. Right. If you think like person A told I will put guppies, does not work. If you have a planaria inside your tank, controlled feeding might reduce their colony size, but it won't wipe them off. The easiest way to wipe them off, set up a new tank. Right. There are certain bit of neocaridinas which carry diseases etc. also, like the green fungi. So whenever you see these kind of uh, shrimps which are little weak, sick, take them out. Right. I'm not going into the details of like what are the shrimps you need to concentrate for a good breeding colony etc. also. But if you want to go into a breeding mode, try to keep lesser males as compared to more females. Right. Because males have a tendency of being an aggressive thing. So a 1:3 ratio should be good. Okay. But again, For an hobbyist point of view, just chill, don't bother so much. But from a breeder point of view, you need to be very sure what is the male also even you are introducing. Keep basics right, keep the fundamentals right, and this is a very rewarding hobby. Right. Any questions, any doubt?
Tell us about a little about male and female education, like interaction.
Right. So, uh, good. Can you go to my? So, from an hobbyist point of view, you keep anything, but from a breeder point of view, 1 is to 3, one male for 3 female. Actually, males actually are good looking males actually go for a higher price. Right. So, can you go to my pictures once? Mm. Carried in a one. Carried in a shrimps. Uh, Open 112. I'll show the male first. This is the male. Okay. Just make the photo a little bit bigger. No, no, sorry, just open it. 112. So it's easily distinguished when it is a Caridina shrimps, what is the male female. So their front two antennas are always larger in size. And second thing is this part. This is almost like there's a slope side. Okay. No, the concave kind of this structure, it will come on female. The males will be like this shape. Go to the that one. Close the structure. I'll just this one. Huh. So this is the female. You can see the bottom part of her. It's let's look. Yes, this is a female. No, no, no. This is a female. Right. So it should not be sloping. Go to the this one is clear picture. So the front antenna is also little smaller, and it would have a little just for carrying the eggs and etc. Also, but this thing only you can start noticing when they are like 3 4 months old. From a younger point of view, it is not easy. But when you getting some shrimps etc. from the market, also get a good colony. Once you identify what are the males, females, remove the not so good looking males. Okay, so that is one way to ensure that your breeding and other things works properly. Eventually, similar thing we follows for cichlid and others also. We introduce a colony, let them pair up, and then remove the other ones. Just go to the Neocaridina ones. This is 1 second, 133. This is also an example of a female. Okay, so there is like in other parts or other animals as males, some of the situations like you can easily distinguish between the coloration from outside, etc. Also, it is Daima. It's not as easy when it comes to shrimps. You might have to wait for a few days. And now what happened across is due to this continuous crossbreeding, not uncontrolled breeding also. So I eventually got 4 males, out of which I found out 2 were females. Once they can, but this is generally the 2 yardstick to find that across. For neos also you can follow the similar thing. Just go back once. I'll tell you. This is also a female. There, the distinguishing factor, whatever we follow in Caridina, it's visible. But in Neo, we follow the similar yardstick also. But theirs ones are not so properly well defined as what is there in Caridina segment. This is a female again. Okay. So for crayfishes, etc., also similarly, you would whatever we seen in the Caridina shrimps, similar thing when you see in a dwarf shrimps, etc. Also the similar thing thing that is followed across there. Right. Eventually, for dwarf crayfish, you can keep similar. I mean, if you have a very strong male, you can keep 1:5 also. Right. Females can stay together, but males have a tendency to fight among themselves. And but if you go for the larger crayfish, it's 1:1. Okay, I mean, though they are not anyways bonded pairs, but we keep some of the situations it's like 1:1, or else you can use same male for multiple females also. They follow the similar thing, but crayfish has a along with this also the larger crayfishes etc. It would take me another time also that from the tail side you can figure out. Okay. Uh, so if a crayfish has a beneath, if you make it on the opposite side, the males have 3 scale, but the females come with a 5 scale. That is one of the way to find it across. And and in some of the situations, the crayfishes, male crayfishes, have 2 additional set of claws. That though it is not present across all the crayfishes, but it is present across few of the ones to clamp the female. Okay, so that's what they have 2 additional set of E. But these two things primarily covers like 70-80%. Crayfishes are like still getting more and more explored. Macrobacium shrimps, which I showed you, both the males will have both the arms. Female will have one arm and one small arm. Ghost shrimps is a species of macrobacium. Ghost shrimp. Would, so that is one identifying mark for macrobacium shrimps also. White color line. That is generally when your water parameters are not in an up to the mark. They are not able to mold and your water parameters are not up to the mark. Okay, so just ensure that and then they will do. If those things comes across, go with an estimation that your shrimp will die. Okay, where? For yes, right now I don't have. I'll share with this. I'll share with Nana. So crayfishes and other things I have mating documented. Shrimps, how the mating etc. happens. It's like eventually when a female shrimp molts, she releases the pheromone kind of concept. So you would see that all the shrimps are becoming mad. That's what the male shrimp starts chasing across. So eventually, then once after the mating and other things, caridinas usually take some 28 days to get the eggs done. I mean, from the time of mating till the time of eggs getting hatched, it's a 28 days, right? And for neos, it's like 20-25 days also, right? Uh, some of the concepts which comes across like inseminations, young parents also are still applicable in shrimps. So you might see some of the situations like your shrimps have, you see a buried female, but after some days you don't see any babies, or she has dropped the along with her exoskeleton also. It's a, that could be a potential thing because of the insemination. So that's what being a breeder we need to concentrate always. That's why my PRL male is rock solid. So that few things from a breeder point of view we need to keep in mind. Leave it with the parents. Leave it with the parents. No, don't separate it because like they once the babies are released, they are on their own. So that's why when he asked that question of algae and biofilm, That's why you need more of algae and biofilm inside your tank or else live litter. So the babies can survive of their own. You don't need to separate the babies out. They do well within that. For crayfish or crab, the female will take care of the babies till the time they are hatched, because crayfishes, how it similar way like the way the shrimps carry, crayfishes also carry, and they become a smaller version of that, of the adults, and then they get released. Once the release happens, the female won't take care. So give the female some 10-15 days rest before you start thinking of breeding again. And for any kind of babies, etc., leaf litter, powder food, because they are not equipped enough to eat to the larger pellets. That would have a better baby survival rate. So in a younger phase, when they are like in babies, they start molting in every like 6-7 days. When they are in juvenile stage, they molt somewhere around till the time 3-4 months old. They will molt across 15-20 days on an average. They will molt. Once they are little older, towards 1 year or etc., you will start their molting like 1.5 months on that frequency. And if you see a shrimp molt or a crayfish molt inside your tank, don't take it out, keep it there. It is a good protein source of food for them. Okay. Only the females. Only the females. When they are like 4 or 5 months older, right? And males, not much, nothing. Recorded, I have carried in a bubble tea. Carried in a bubble tea, you have the zebra species there. You have the white-backed shrimps. You have the zebra shrimps. You have the caridina green. You have the caridina hot tea. You have red nose shrimps. These are what I'm saying into the hobby. All right. Then you have a yellow nose shrimps also, which comes from Chennai thing. So overall, from a hobby perspective, you can say some in dwarf species, some 10 to 12 varieties which are there. Macrobatium, there should be somewhere around approximately like that 8 to 10 varieties of shrimps which are there. In wild. In wild only. I'm saying. In wild, there could be many other things which, see, the thing is like ghost shrimps, which we were speaking some time back, right? As it does not have so much of ornamental value, it becomes more towards the edible side. Okay, so there are certain bit of microbations, etc., also which are not so colorful. You know what happens with them. Prawns is what we call the macrobations. Okay, shrimps is what are the dwarf ones, smaller ones. And isn't prawn the brackish water ones? That is, prawn is actually the brackish water one. Similar differences between lobster and crayfish. Lobster is salt water, like you have turtle and tortoise, right? Prawn is edible. Nothing, nothing. No defense mechanism. In wild, the green and other things which I showed you, they only defense is hiding, hiding only. So some of the situations, they people tend to call out that green along with green, it does not become visible to the naked eye. But if it is if it catches attention of any of the fishes, it will die. Okay, so there is no such yardstick that we have. Eventually, for crabs and other things also, they burrow. That is the only survival that they have. Yes, first come, first serve. That's concept. Nothing. So that's what when you have a when you have larger number of males, remove the unwanted ones. Eventually, similar thing like we do for guppies, etc. Also select the ones because here the concept is actually not there where female has the option to choose the stronger mate. Right? It's like whichever are there. That's way. Huh. There is no competition. No, the competition comes across as who is the first one, who runs fast, who notices and catches the female first. Any other questions, guys? We have half an hour left for discussion. Yes. I actually last shrimp exhibition I did in Bangalore only 2017 or 18. After that I'm just restarting in India here only. Yes, they have. I mean, thing is that what I like about them is they are focused and they are data oriented. They won't speak. I mean, eventually, that's what when you follow people, you follow somebody who is knowledgeable. There are certain people who are like, test kit I don't need. I can taste the water and tell whether it is acidic or alkaline. So if you follow them, you are bound to fail. They are thoroughly documented and they are like close to, I would say, 10-15 years ahead when it comes to any other things. You see, there is, though not fish related, and neither they are sponsoring me. So you check Aqua House Gauss. This is a German company which does very good cichlid breeding. Don't need to buy anything, just see their facility. Okay, so I mean they have some 500-600 tanks, specializes on one or two species of, I mean like Tanganyikan cichlids or else Victorian cichlids, and all the ulta pulta species, all the ulta pulta males, they discard. So when I was in Bangalore, I had close to 300 plus tanks. Right now, with the baby and other things, I have close to 70 odd tanks. I have. I did is across. I took a 2 floor home and that way, and my entire thing is automated. My water change and everything are automated, not a manual process. It's like a drip acclimatization thing. So every if it's a 12 inches tank at 10th inch, I have a hole done. From there, 1 second, one drop of water is going out, and I have a reservoir on top of it. From there, 1 second, one drop is going out. So ensure that there is no physical labor is involved there. Which one? Right. If this went. No, once the female is conceived for 1 month or that thing after she lays eggs, give her a rest for 10-15 days. Automatically she will molt and then she will do. But thing is that if you do too much of breeding also, she will become weak. Okay. Skip, give some days, like remove the male from a breeding point of view, remove the male for some days. Right. You can do from a commercial point of view, like if you ask me, I don't give the space. After once they laid the eggs, they are ready for the next mold. Okay. So a good question. So the cheaper the shrimp is, the more the babies are. So in the है ना, वो that galaxy fishbone photo, go to the Caridina segment, Caridina shrimps, open करो, just 1 second, huh? This one 91. So we have like eventually the female carries like 20-30 eggs also, but from eggs till adult I will have like 3-4 babies. Okay, Abhi now close this one. This is the costliest one. This is where I broke my FD. Okay, these are the ones 31. So sheer this CRS and other things you will, if you keep the basic strongs, they will have at least 10-12 babies, right? If you go like galaxies etc also, you will have lesser number of babies there. Which one? This is Yamato. Amano shrimps anyways they won't breed in fresh water, and Caridina you can mix, they will produce something new. Hard. I hate them actually, to be honest with them, because they look like a freaking dinosaur. Okay, there are I mean similar way like we have now. Oh, we use them for algae eating etc also. So I did not picked up those photos because in Indian native also there is a Cichutsera balatori, that is like instead of you buying a 200 rupees autosynclus, that is 20-30 rupees itself, they are better algae cleaner as compared to that. Okay, this is for planted tank, people are like, okay,
So if you want to start on Sardinia, how do you means after cycling? What species there is? Little bit
CRS. If you are going for the imported one, CRS.
basic ones.
Yes, that's what. For basic ones, if you want, you can go with the Indian shrimps also. Those are also all Caridina genus. But they might, like Caridina babaulti or Caridina hotgati, they might get reclassified in coming days. Because these were documented in 1931. After that, the species would need a reclassification. So that is there. But CRS, etc., it's like easy shrimps. Not just because I have kept them, because some initial, when we started, our source of truth was the online forums also. So when we initially got the shrimps from Japan, some 2009, etc., also we realized that everything is going good, everything is happening good. Females are conceiving, but there is no babies. Then, I mean, speaking with their broken English with Japanese and our English, somewhere across, we realized change the soil, make it some kind of an acidic soil. That's when we things picked up. Now with the invent of Facebook, Instagram, etc. also, and if you want to know more earlier part also, there are some redundant shrimp forums also which have things documented, but we actually have much more access to data nowadays, right? Wait, this is actually very easy shrimps. How expensive? How much is the rate going Bangalore now?
4 5. Very basic.
400 Bangalore.
They'll name it something else, but then when they're giving, they'll give something else.
So when we used to sell it cheaper. So this goes some. Huh? I'm taking a break for a few years, a few months. So this is like this goes some 250-300 rupees. These are the ones. And upper ceiling, there is no ceiling. No ceiling. For me, FD was broken. You can sell house also. Okay, so I mean that's what eventually what I feel is that we should have a community where we look more towards working on the crossbreeding or some better quality one. It should not be something like if breeders are coming across from India itself, we are just more concerned towards mass breeding. If you do selective breeding and other things also, you start getting noticed by others. Because once I started concentrating towards the Indian shrimps. That's where we presented the research papers in Germany and Poland. Because they used to get the shrimps from here. The traders, importers, exporter never had the data. But now with the access of data we have, only things are like, do you guys know that in India also we have a pistol shrimp freshwater variety? I also didn't knew. When we went there, actually, I saw that there is a not. It won't break the glass, but it makes insane sound. I mean, you can hear it from outside of the aquarium also. That is more towards that is a little restricted area towards Sundarban side. The trade name is something different, but I saw that, so that also I might get documented because it's a complete freshwater shrimp. It's aggressive, but it makes like that similar pistol kind of shrimp. One hand is bigger for both the males and females, and they make. I mean, you can hear it from like 5-7 feet difference also. The Tylomelania snails also. This was one of the things which we found across.
I don't know, species right which have got this. Looks like a shrimp, but we have a it will kill their prey with the punch of the
Pistol, the pistol or mantis maybe.
A very personal question. How did you get to this? And what are the challenges that you have faced throughout?
Okay, I'll tell you why I got into this. I always have a fascination towards those species which are smaller and which are tougher to keep. That is this. I mean, I do not have personal hatred against the Neocaridina, but it does not pose any challenge for me. This one's posed challenge. So initially, when we started, it did not have any documented knowledge. It's like do this, do that. So with Sulawesi shrimps, with we used to evaporate. I mean, put higher amount of oxygen to make it that way. In and I have, though I did not studied into that side of the medical side, but I have a core interest into cross breeding and line breeding and those segments. Right. So I follow your Mendel's law of inheritance. What are the things it need to be done that way? So I have my own line of black tiger shrimps, etc. Also. So how it happens it from that personal interest area. So right now I'm working on one cichlid species which is known as because I got bored of Tanganyikan cichlids. It's known as Nanochromis transvestivus. That needs highly acidic water like 4 to 4.5, where the females are good looking as compared to males. Right. That is, I think, only cichlid species into the world. So eventually, when I will go again from next year onwards, again, I'll just work on the tiger genus, crossbreeding, and the orange and blue eye. So you can say that maybe the challenge which gave me the enthusiasm to go after it.
I really wanted that to this Kerala fish, right? I really wanted to breed it and to try it out, but it's not work.
Hmm.
It's an Indian species, found in
I know, Miss Kerala, I know.
India. There's no predator. We get it whatever it is.
We get it in Indonesia, and then you have an albino variety of that also. Right.
We tried getting full big pond, darkening the water and everything.
No, for these things also, again, you need a lot of patience. Don't, for a breeding colony, don't always get the adult sizes. We prefer the juvenile sizes. Last year, because of this getting this adult thing and other things, also I lost a lot of cordon blues because from naked eye you can't identify it's an adult or a younger one. So this year I have a lot of your baby cordon blues. We'll work on those ones. Similarly, I mean, just to extend to your question only, similar reason only I'm keeping finches. So it gives me that I know this, this conures and other things, it's easy. Finches, you see, morning eating, afternoon dead. Once done. So that's all. Yes. I have it in Insta, but not in. I should have done that thing. I
That's it.
tank setup. So I have close to, when in my peak I had close to 90 to 100 species. Okay, but again, no, one not when in peak. So from 2024, not this is 2024. From 2023 till the time like next year, when my son is like till 1 year old, I've taken everything in a back step so that I can give some time to him. 2025 onwards, we have, like in Q1 onwards, we have aggressive plans where we'll go after again back to year thing. Yes, Blue Vale Lifetech. Blue Vale Lifetech.
Blue Vale.
Bluevale.
Blue Vale.
Lifetech.
So about the if you have it pictures.
I don't have any pictures here. Huh? I don't know. I did not. I actually missed that thing because mostly I thought I will concentrate towards the hobby part, but I'll share. I'll share this with them for the next time. I'll get those things.
We have the second of this season.
Yeah, sure. I made a note also. I'll get my next time. I'll send my setup pictures
Yeah.
along with the some of the crossbreeding shells that we have done. This time I thought I will concentrate on some other things, but we'll have that next time.
Yeah.
Two segments. First, there are two ways. Okay. First, you become a mass breeder. Left, right, forget whatever I told. Breed. But don't bother about coloration. Red, green, blue, whatever is coming, breed. Breed it into pond, breed it into lake. Not just don't go into lake, sell. That is one thing. This is for mass breeding. The disadvantage is you need a bigger space and huh, this is a price competitive thing, but you will always have lesser margin domain, but you will always mark up on that with the volume aspect. So here you don't have 10 pieces will come. Here 10,000 pieces will go. I know one person in Taiwan, he is not into this specialized breeding. He drives a Porsche. Okay. He's into mass breeding. Second is this sophisticated breeding. You breed one shrimps, which will go for 5 lakhs. The disadvantage in first part is that you deal in a volume based market. Customer is not bothered about what is the quality you are giving. They're not bothered about anything. The advantage it is that you don't need to work on quality, etc. Also, left, right, FA, sell everything. Okay. But when it comes to the specialized thing, advantage it is that you have a very niche set of customers, right? They and you constantly need to innovate. You can't just sit on one species, right? You have some like you with 20, 30 tanks itself, there are people who are earning like CRs, right? But they invested quite a good long time. There is one guy I met in Bangkok. His name is Rio. I mean, that is what is. He spent some 4 or 5 of your life, just to add up to ma'am's point, if you work on a specialized way. He worked only on just one crayfish, which is volcano crayfish. He is the world's first producer. He sold each species for 2.5 lakh. For next 3, 4 years, he dominated the entire market. Now he has such an insane volume. It's like some 8, 10 acres of farm he have in Thailand. So, but if you think I will be in the middle of that thing, the middle does not come. Uh, there are, but it is a sophisticated market. Okay. So you need to spend because we tend to think that who will buy. But in India itself, we have 20, 30,000 rupees or seven in some of the situations, 70, 80,000 rupees discussers are getting sold. And then there is one set of people who are like with 300 rupees discuss also, they will have heart attack. Right. So you need to define what is your strength is. That is the reason I think it is not worth of my time and other things also to work on a mass scale. I work on a very sophisticated thing. Next year onwards, I will become much more sophisticated with just 2, 3. I mean, with the eye coloration. Till date, I did just with orange, and then I haven't touched silver so much. So I'll touch on those things itself. So you need to define. Um, there is actually no right or wrong because in India you have Alto also getting sold, you have Maybach also getting sold, right? Define your customers, go with your strengths, right? I was speaking with ma'am in morning. There is Shriram Kaka. So there is a very old, knowledgeable breeder, Shriram sir from Mumbai. Shriram sir breeds very good quality angels. Datana. Always focused on if you angels. Earlier he used to breed neon tetra and other things. So when I was speaking with him, he bred neon tetras in AC room. It did not become commercially viable. With the control temperature, always you have a better output. It did not become commercially viable, so he scrapped out that project. His albino datinum, he calls the shot. If you are like, I don't have so much money, thank you. But if you see his albino datinums, it's like from top to bottom fin, you can measure. I mean, it's like a scale, right? So that's how. And then you have in my side also, there are breeders who will give you angels for 1 or 2 rupees also. But I mean, they will give you like 10,000, 20,000 species. That's why. Commitment, right? Yes, because your niche segments need your attention. You can't have while having those discussion of the breeding and other things, you need to be attentive that you can't have a bad male or a bad female inside the colony. You need to take a heavy heart, call them. That is the reason I have a shrimp along with a chicklet segment. So the shrimps goes to the chicklet side, the culled one. They get eaten by the chicklets. Specialized breeding. How many breeders would be in the country in India? 3, 4. Just 3, 4 people in the country. And their average, yeah, about 20, 30,000. No, 20, 30,000 rupees. I don't think anybody else is doing that right now. But it starts from like 500 to 510, 500 to 5,000 rupees. You can go, right? that sophisticated with 40-50,000 which I'm telling. Along with Indian things also, we have access to international markets. So it you can't. Rome wasn't built in one day. That example is there now. You can't get it like in one day itself. You need to spend. That's what. Why with a specialized thing, just to add up to ma'am's point only, with a specialized thing, people will know you that okay, this guy is expert in that thing. You have general physician and then you have a heart surgeon. You pay more to a heart surgeon. No disrespect to the general physician, but they are specialized into that segment. But again, for a heart surgeon, it might have taken them 15 years of study to went to that stage. So that's what
There are no shortcuts.
shortcuts. Is few things you can make automated. Water change is a manual labor. Make that thing automated. But at least you need to go see how they are moving. If things are proper, not a yardstick will be if your shrimps are eating properly. If you have algae, they are eating very good. If you don't have an algae, you have given them some feed. They're not touching the feed itself. Something is wrong. You should be attentive enough to understand what is wrong there and start working on it.